Hey, welcome to the best small business podcast, where you get powerful insights, breakthrough ideas, and simple solutions to make your business unbelievably successful. I'm Rich G.
And I'm BJ Flagg, and this is episode 158, The Art of Listening, Social and Emotional Listening.
What?
I didn't hear you, honey. What?
Listening, that has nothing to do with coaching. How about with your business?
Oh, barely a thing. Barely at all.
Yeah, nothing, a thing at all.
Exactly.
No, go for it.
I think you of all people know, with COVID and everything like that, the art of listening has taken a toll.
Yeah, it's everybody's walking around with about 10 to 20% anxiety. They're worried about their business, their job, their health, their kids, their spouse, their everything that's going on, the economy, when things are going to open, and everybody thinks, well, is this going to go away soon, or are we going to into this till 2021 in December? What's going on? So everybody's bringing that to your business.
Right.
That those weights on their shoulder, they're carrying them along like exactly. Morley in A Christmas Carol. They're carrying around all this chain.
and I think what we're seeing is everybody obviously we weren't prepared for this. Yeah. And they are also not prepared with the lasting so long.
Yeah.
So they now realize, I have to keep my business going. I have to keep my emotional relationships going. This is going to take some new art.
Yeah, and your customers and clients are coming to your business, to your store location, and you see it. You see it on YouTube, the arguments and the fights and people getting angry and the rage. And when people are frustrated, when their frustration level goes up, they turn to anger. And that's the bad thing. Instead of analyzing what's really frustrating me, do I have control over that or not? Right. People don't care. They're just like losing it. And we've seen it happen with clients. Yeah, go for it.
Definitely. And you're losing it on both ends. You're losing, you're reacting to it.
Yeah.
And you're also seeing it and not knowing how to deal with it. And I thought that this was an important enough topic to kind of talk about this now, because we're going to go into another whole group of months.
Yeah.
We are going to really need to sharpen our skills.
You're really going to need to hunker down. First of all, we really need to listen.
Yes.
Listen to our customers and clients. So let me dive right into tip number one.
Great.
You first need to understand their environment. Understand the environment that they're in right now. Where are they coming from? If they're angry at you, or they're just not in a good mood, or they're complaining, or they're de-energized, you need to understand where they're coming from and what's bothering them.
Right. And what's bothering them could be something small that happened on the way to this meeting.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a little tiny trigger that just hit them.
Yeah.
And really, in your job is not to completely change them. Your job is to see what can you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes people that have more of a transactional type of business, you sometimes have a really bad client or something. You need to walk out of the room and compose yourself to come back to work with the next client. And BJ, I know you have to deal with that sometimes. So do I. I have not always, but once in a while, once in a blue moon, you have a bad coaching session or a bad session with a client, and I need that 15 minutes to decompress and then come on my call or Zoom session with a client with energy and enthusiasm and smiles. You got to smile. It can't be fake.
No, I know.
Yeah.
And, and I think you have to open up your EQ massively to better understand their situation, position, demeanor. So your
Absolutely.
eyes have to become clearer to look at them, look for the body language, look for the when we say social and emotional listening, you're not just listening to their words. You need to be looking and trying to get as much cue as you possibly can in order to kind of pack that conversation well.
Yeah, you really have to open up your empathy. You really
Oh
have
yeah.
to, understand it. And sometimes it's hard when somebody's attacking you or not doing what they're supposed to do. And you're just like, could you please be an adult here? You're getting angry at them. So
Yeah.
you need to ask questions and listen. And that's
Listen.
the best way, because what will happen is you will make your way into all of that morass of emotion and get to the real reason why they're not happy or they're frustrated, and ask questions and then shut up and listen. Let them talk.
Right.
And guess what? They'll come down.
They
They'll
will
do
come
it. Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
So tip number 2 is, what are you bringing to the conversation? This is not
Yeah.
all about them. What are you bringing it in? Do you have any preconceived notions or attitudes toward what the discussion is for the day? Like you might,
Yes.
yeah, right?
Yes.
You might feel like, God, this is going to be a good conversation. I know they're not going to be happy about it. So you're
Yeah.
ready on the defense.
Yeah, they're not going to like the price. They're not going to like the advice you give them. They're not going to. Sometimes you have to tell a client that you uncovered something that's going to cost them a lot more money, or
You know,
something happened that they're not ready for.
Right. And I think what is interesting is that, like, you had a client a couple of years ago, Rich,
Yeah.
that everything was going fine in the thing, and then all of a sudden they hired somebody different.
Yeah, it was a loss of, and you see it sometimes. And I think a lot of companies, when you have a long relationship with like clients and customers, they sometimes feel, or they're being told by someone, that you're not as qualified. So they go to another resource and they
Right.
hire them, and they spend a lot of money to do that. And it's frustrating because you're like, do you want me to do this or do you want them to do it? And they want
Right.
both. And it's frustrating because you've developed a relationship like, I'm the authority here. You're paying me for my knowledge and experience.
Yeah.
And now you're using somebody else. It happens a lot in the legal profession, accounting
Yeah.
profession,
Yeah. But
lots of different.
even
Yeah.
like the weight loss,
Yes.
profession, the person decides they don't like the fact that you're telling them they have to live on a restrictive diet. So they go to a new person because
Yeah.
they figured that person's going to tell them something different. They didn't like, quote, what they heard.
Absolutely. They go
Yeah.
to someone that says, you can eat steak, you can have pizza, you can have whatever you want. It's like, well, wait a second.
Wait a minute.
Do you want my advice? I get that a lot with resumes where people are like, I don't
Yeah.
really like the way I go, do you understand that many of my clients, if not all, get jobs by using my resume template? Just because your best friend or your spouse or someone told you, I don't really like that, I don't think that's going to work.
Right.
They suddenly drop it. So
Right. And now they haven't used a resume in 10 years, but boy, are they smart now.
they're smart now.
They're super smart
Yeah.
now. But, have you prepared to drop everything that's happening kind of in your life right now and not bring that into the conversation? So a lot of it
Yeah.
is going to be physically seen. So it's going to be your form of tension, how you're
Yes.
handling your facial expressions,
Yeah.
just how you're handling yourself bodily, right? Your body
Yeah.
language.
Yeah, because it is hard. Even though you're smiling, you could have I could tell when something's bothering someone. So what positive steps have you taken to provide a healthy listening environment?
Right.
Maybe a check-in or concise agenda sent ahead of time to show them that you're ready to work and get past anything. Plenty of open-ended questions ready to go. Get them talking and stuff.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like, when you do those things, show you care. You show you care about the next meeting.
Yeah.
And that's another way just to get to what our tip number 3 is.
Yeah, is how do you get to a clear environment? And when we say clear, we're talking about how do you get to an environment where both of you are not bringing baggage to it, where you can talk and where it's a positive environment for them and also for you. This is where you listen to the angel on your shoulder, okay?
Right.
Even though the devil is screaming at you. It's screaming at you. Don't work with this person. This person's an idiot. I can't believe you're working with. You got to go, you know what? Give them another chance. You know, just give them. And what's the main word that we're looking for here, BJ?
Validation. Yes. You need to find a common point of an agreement to it as quick as you can in the meeting and get them to meet you there. Because if they feel that what they're saying is validated, slowly but surely their shoulders go down. They get comfortable. Yeah. And they lean in. The minute you see them leaning in a little bit and really listening themselves, you've got it.
Yeah, this is big when you're in a business to try and solve problems for people. And maybe the first thing that you diagnosed or that you prescribed isn't working. And so then they lose their temper and they get angry. They go, I thought you said this was going to be all fixed, you know? And you're like, well, I didn't say, I said, we're going to try this. You're going to try this. You know, people need validation. And once you do that, you can start to grow and build this clear space, this clear environment based on common beliefs. It will grow because you're asking them questions and you're being professional. And you know, it's a sea change. You see things radically turn 180 degrees once you start doing this.
Oh, for sure. And I think that you have to really understand that each of your outlier positions are going to help you with your common goals, needs, and plans. So everything you're doing, it's going to help move the conversations forward at future meetings.
And that's the important thing, is that you do have common goals, common needs, and common plans. They've just been hijacked by this new thing that's come in here. And you need to get back to those common goals, needs, and plans. And that's what you need to do with them.
Yeah. And I think tip number 4, we're really talking about how do you bring this new clear environment that you've created, this safe space, to your next discussion faster. Because you may have taken half the meeting this last time in order to get to that calming point.
Yeah.
Now this time, hey, let's push that back so that the first check-in time is really only a quarter of our meeting.
Yes.
And then we can use the 3/4 of the meeting to really get down to business, right?
Yeah. And then you also need to, could anything have been done to de-escalate any tension in the meeting? What was the trigger? Does the client come with this trigger every time they come to meet with you? They might be coming why the trigger is happening. Maybe they're afraid of the high technical stuff that you're talking about, that they're so out of their element. Or like with me, when I'm working with clients, and my job is to take people out of their comfort zones every day.
I know. And I think that after every meeting, you really, before you go on to something else, review that meeting and review the notes and add how were they feeling? What did they express? And then how were you that day? Because not for nothing, don't you be bringing it into the next one and self-sabotaging yourself. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, and it's the whole idea is that what positive components can you bring to the next meeting?
Yes, and I feel like everybody will say this, but this constant constructive improvement will make such a difference at your next meeting. So I hope that helps.
Absolutely. Well, our resource for today is a book by Michael Sorensen called I Hear You, The surprisingly simple skill behind extraordinary relationships.
I hear you.
I hear you. It's such a great book for our topic.
I know.
He breaks it into a number of different areas, but he really talks about how, like, calm the concerns, fears, and uncertainties of others, and how to increase feelings of respect and appreciation with your clients and customers.
And I think you're going to really like it because it kind of gets into, like, how can you quickly resolve or even prevent arguments, and just how to work with others to be more open to your point of view. Part of the listening factor is you've listened to them. Now, can they be open to your point of view? But it's a great book. A lot of good nuggets in it.
Good stuff. So anyway, and that's it for today. Hit the subscribe button down below to ensure you never, ever miss an episode. And if you like this podcast, feel free to share it with all of your friends. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Click the thumbs up button, and the more you click, the more people will listen and hear our podcasts.
And we want to thank all our core business partners who've helped us hit 158 podcasts, and our producer and editor, Richard Scalzo. Yay!
Yes.
The man who makes it happen.
Absolutely.
And speak to you soon, and have an unbelievable week.
Catch you later.